Yes, good morning, and I can hear you.
Sarah, you're closer to the action there. There have been reports of gunfire. Can you confirm this?
Yes, we've spoken to a journalist who is in Burundi earlier, and he said the whole morning they have witnessed several areas where there's been gunfire, but most of it has been concentrated around the Burundi national television and radio stations. It is not clear if it is between rival army factions or it is between the army and probably people inside the station. What we know for sure is that it is a tense morning in Bujumbura, the capital of Burundi, and that President Nkurunziza is actually here in Tanzania. He did not make it back home.
Have there been any reports on any arrests or injuries up until now from this morning, Sarah?
From this morning, there have not been arrests. What we know is that last night, 3 people were shot and killed during what was celebrations to welcome the army into the city just after General Nayimbore had announced that he had taken over power and, in his words, had dismissed President Nkurunziza.
South Africa has been having conflicting reports on the coup. There is a coup currently taking place.
Well, what we know for sure is that President Nkurunziza is not entirely in control. As I have just said, he was unable to enter the country. Deputy President Ramaphosa yesterday, taking over, speaking just after the summit, condemned the coup attempt, and he said that he will be seeking a political solution. He said that South Africa will join East African community leaders to see that something is done and a political solution is sought to ensure that the country does not slip into complete civil chaos.
Sarah, what has been the latest reaction from negotiators to the news and the actions currently taking place there?
Well, they condemned the coup. They said that constitutional order must resume in Burundi. And they also said that a coup would not be a solution to the current crisis in Burundi. But they said that the Arusha Agreement, and that is the agreement that bound Pierre Nkurunziza to just 2 terms, must be upheld. But they say at this point, an election is not possible to be held in Burundi under the current condition. And they want it suspended or postponed, but they say only after the time when President Nkurunziza's term ends. So they say then that elections must be held before his presidential term is over.
You've said that there are chances of an election being postponed. What can we expect to hear on that today?
It will be very difficult to know what will happen now because there is no official voice that can speak about elections or the formation of the government. I think the chaos and the confusion might continue for some time. The East African community promised another summit in a week or in 2 weeks' time. We expect, we hear President Pierre Nkurunziza will still be trying to access the country. If that fails, probably then the generals who have taken over power in Burundi may announce of whether they are going to form a transitional government or whether they are going to go ahead and call an election. Earlier, we understand one of them had said that they are working with civil society organizations to see to it that a transitional government is put in place before elections can be held.
Sarah, we know thousands have already fled the country. What is this number increasing? What is the latest?
Well, by last evening, the United Nations was reporting 55,000. It is expected that the people who are closer to the borders will be able to leave the country and they'll continue living. They have been living even before the elections were announced or before President Pierre Nkurunziza announced that he was going to be running for a 3rd term. A lot of people had been leaving. When he announced, then there were like an exodus out of Burundi. So it is expected that people will continue living in the country. What that does is that it increases pressure on the neighboring countries, but also, according to analysts, puts the East African region at risk because it is likely that all those areas have a lot of militias. So, and it is likely that those militias could take advantage of the chaos to infiltrate either of the countries or go back and destabilize Burundi even further.
And do we know how these refugees have been accepted into the neighboring countries so far?
Well, the UNHCR says it is supporting the refugees, but it says some of them have actually not been able to reach any of the camps, and that puts them at risk of starvation, puts them at risk of disease as they try to settle or reach the camps.
And has the government in Burundi been calling on more help for the situation there, Sarah?
Yesterday, when it was announced that there is a coup, from the Twitter account of President Pierre Nkurunziza and that of the Burundian government, they sent out a statement saying that the coup was fake. It was an attempt. The attempted coup was a fake, and that they were pursuing the people who had been said to have announced that a coup had taken place. Since then, there has been no communication from those accounts, and neither has there been any official communication from the Burundi government or from Pierre Nkurunziza, who is said to be here in Tanzania.
Sarah, thank you very much for that update. That is our SABC East African correspondent, Sarah Kimani, just putting us in the picture with what currently is happening. We know the situation there is dire. She's confirmed that there has been gunfire this morning in Bujumbura.